Amidst the chilling silence of the Kenyan jungle, a dark shadow suddenly leaps from the foliage, striking its prey before it realizes death is imminent. Will absolute patience and perfect concealment be enough for the lone predator to end the battle in seconds? The Lone Leopard. The art of concealment and the deadly pounce from above. The Kenyan jungle appears as a deep green labyrinth, where every tree and every bush hides a pair of eyes watching from the shadows. Unlike the noisy pride of lions on the savannah, this place worships solitude and absolute silence. In this confined space, environmental sounds are amplified to an overwhelming level: the rustling of leaves, the alarm calls of birds, all creating a dramatic symphony for a hunt about to begin. At the heart of this labyrinth, the leopard reigns supreme as a master of the art of camouflage. The leopard does not choose the method of exhaustive pursuit. It chose a ruthless wait and a meticulous reconnaissance tactic. The hunt began from the ground, where this lone phantom approached its target with weightless steps through the dense bushes. However, instead of attacking directly from the thicket, it silently retreated and chose a completely different approach angle, climbing a nearby ancient tree. With masterful agility, it weaved through the dense foliage without a sound, occupying an ideal vantage point directly above its prey. A gazelle was idly grazing at the base of the tree, completely unaware that a killing machine was operating with absolute precision right above it. Every muscle of the leopard tensed like a bowstring, its eyes fixed on the nape of its target with breathtaking concentration. The shadowy figure decided to leave its hiding place. And suddenly, it performed a freefall from above. Gravity, combined with muscular strength, created a deadly pounce straight to a vital point, ending any hope of escape in an instant. The hunt ended swiftly and swiftly, leaving behind profound admiration for an art of killing refined over millions of years of evolution. The Kenyan jungle did not return to silence, but was immediately enveloped in a deadly urgency. The leopard understood that, in the world of predators, the smell of fresh blood was an invitation to opportunistic thieves. With extraordinary strength, it began a physical feat, gripping its prey twice its own weight and climbing up the steep ancient tree trunk. Its muscles tensed, its sharp claws dug into the bark, lifting its meal out of reach of predators on the ground. This wasn't just a skill, but a crucial survival tactic for a lone nocturnal hunter. Under the tree, a chaotic scene began to unfold as the scent of victory stirred the ground predators. The hyenas appeared first, circling the base of the tree with hungry eyes and characteristic wild laughter, ready to snatch any scraps of meat that fell. But the commotion was quickly quelled by the appearance of majestic lionesses emerging from the bushes. The lions surrounded the base of the tree in a tense silence, occasionally letting out deep, rumbling roars that seemed to shake the ancient tree trunk. The ambient sounds intensified, the wind whistling through the leaves, the hyenas' chilling laughter mingling with the lion's menacing roars, all in stark contrast to the exhausted, labored breathing of the leopard high above. The real danger erupted when a large lioness, consumed by hunger, decided to defy all natural laws. Instead of snarling from the ground, she suddenly stretched out, using her enormous claws to dig deep into the bark, and began clumsily but resolutely climbing toward the leopard. Even the male lion tried. The sound of the bark being torn apart under the weight of the apex predator sent shivers down the leopard's spine. However, in its most critical moment, its masterful climbing instincts saved it. Fortunately, with its compact body and innate agility, the leopard instantly clamped its jaws on its prey, swiftly moving through the weak, small branches and soaring to the highest canopy, a place where the lioness's immense weight could never reach. The lioness was left below, helplessly watching the lone predator disappear into the deep green canopy of the forest. A spectacular escape right before the claws of the queen of the savannah. Do you admire the lioness's daring or the leopard's masterful climbing skills more? As the helpless growls of the lionesses faded below, the leopard stopped at the highest canopy of the ancient tree, where the slender branches barely supported its delicate frame. From this position, it looked down upon its blazing kingdom with an eerie calm. The physical battle was over, giving way to a proud silence. It proved an eternal truth of the jungle. Brute force may dominate the ground, but agility and intelligence are what allow you to survive at the top. Having settled in its airborne fortress, the leopard began to leisurely enjoy the fruits of its labor. Each bite was swallowed with absolute vigilance. After the meal, another crucial instinct emerged, erasing all traces of life. With its rough tongue, it meticulously licked away any remaining blood from its fur and claws, ensuring that no scent could lead any other enemies. The golden sunset faded behind the Kenyan mountains, its distinctive spotted coat beginning to shine, blending perfectly into the interwoven light and shadow of the foliage and ancient tree bark. The hunt ended as it began, in absolute silence. Time passed silently among the layers of Kenyan forest leaves. The rainy seasons pass, and the harsh, dry seasons arrive, shaping an ever-changing empire. The lone leopard of yesteryear, after countless battles for survival, has now become a symbol of enduring existence. The image of the solitary predator fades into the twilight of the past, giving way to a vibrant present, where the forest spirit is no longer alone on its journey. It still possesses the same sharp eyes and perfect spotted coat, but its appearance now carries a different kind of majesty and caution. Following closely behind, from the tall grass, two tiny specks of light with soft, fluffy fur trot along. These cubs, the result of continuity and hope, are the reason why each step of the mother leopard is now heavier with responsibility, but also more resolute than ever before. Unlike the silence of the night, daytime is when the ancient forest reveals its harshness under the stark light. The mother leopard didn't immediately lead her cubs to hunt, but patiently taught them how to observe. Under the shade of an ancient acacia tree, She lay still, her ears perked up, catching every slightest movement of the wind. The two leopard cubs, less than 3 months old, clumsily practiced stalking each other, playfully teasing their mother's tail and emitting innocent, peaceful cries. But this playful moment was quickly interrupted. At midday, when everything seemed to be dying under the scorching heat, a strange wind blew through, carrying the scent of death. Not far away, a lioness, the alpha, had sensed the presence of the leopard cubs. In the natural world, lions not only kill rivals for food, but also want to eliminate young to protect their dominant position for the next generation. With the ruthless instincts of apex predators, the lioness loomed toward the thicket where the two little souls were hiding. The ground trembled under her footsteps, and the mother leopard immediately sensed imminent danger. No longer a lurking ghost or a stealthy assassin, the moment she saw the lioness closing in on her cubs, she made a desperate decision. She wouldn't flee. She leaped to the ground, standing tall and blocking the entrance to the cave, her body upright, with her claws extended, letting out roars that shattered the silence. Her eyes blazed with hatred and determination. Although she knew she was far inferior to the immense power of her opponent, the concept of fear had completely vanished from her mind. The battle erupted with breathtaking ferocity. The mother leopard attacked ferociously, using her innate speed to create sharp cuts on her opponent's face, hoping to draw all attention to herself. She used her own body as a shield, sacrificing every last drop of blood to buy precious moments for her cubs to climb the highest cliff. This was no longer a hunt, but an epic of sacrifice. The mother leopard wasn't fighting to win. She was fighting for her cubs' lives. Witnessing this reckless, life-threatening act, the lioness began to hesitate. She never imagined that a leopard, usually so reclusive, could become so ferocious and terrifying. Realizing she couldn't subdue the raging volcano, the lioness let out an angry roar and silently turned away. Only when the enemy's figure disappeared into the distance did the mother leopard collapse from exhaustion. Her breath was ragged, but her eyes remained fixed on the cliff where her two trembling cubs looked down. Once again, the leopard's solitary journey triumphs, not with a pounce from above, but with a great maternal love that transcends all laws of survival. True strength lies not in size or muscle, but in a heart willing to sacrifice everything. Are you moved by this great love of the jungle's ghost? Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment to honor the most resilient mother in the wild. A leopard, filled with explosive springs, is holding its breath. Just a 3-second sprint, everything will be over. Chaotic sounds. A troop of baboons is approaching. Will the leopard be able to finish the hunt, or is it about to face the savannah's most dangerous robber? When baboons steal the leopard's prey, who is the ruler? The Serengeti is entering the harshest stage of the dry season. The air vibrates with heat mirages, stretching from the cracked ground to the horizon. The yellow of the grasslands, burned by the scorching sun, mixed with the red dust floating in the wind, creating a hazy picture, both beautiful and threatening. In the distance, the migratory animals have left this land, leaving behind a cold void where only the sound of cicadas and the sound of dry earth rustling under the pressure of the heat can be heard. Amidst the sea of yellow grass, a movement so light, it seemed like an illusion. A low silhouette, gliding silently, like a thinking wind. The female leopard appeared silently, soft but dangerous, like a velvet-covered blade. The golden brown fur with rosettes perfectly blended into the color of the grass, making it almost disappear when it stopped. The sunlight shone on the fur, highlighting each firm muscle, born to stalk and explode at the decisive moment. The leopard's eyes, like smoldering amber, slowly scanned the grassland before them. Not a single movement escaped her sight. Each blink was a calculation, each breath a preparation. The leopard's entire body was like a bow drawn silently, precisely, and just waiting for the right moment to shoot with deadly speed. This was not the savannah's strongest predator. But it is the most effective and the one that all other creatures are wary of, because when the leopard appears, there is always another creature that must disappear. In the dry grass that is smoldering under the heat of the sun, a small but noticeable movement breaks the silence. A young antelope, emaciated by the long dry season, is separating from the herd to search for a rare patch of green grass that remains. It walks slowly, head down, ears twitching occasionally when it hears the cicadas chirping around it. Its innocence is not because it does not know the danger, but because in this land, there are so many dangers that it is impossible to guard against them all. And just a few dozen meters away, the female leopard is still watching its every move. The leopard lowers its body even more, almost becoming a flat shadow on the ground. It stops when the antelope raises its head, then continues to slither away when its prey bends down to eat. An absolute, icy focus, pure instinct, controlling every muscle in the body. The leopard calculated the distance. The wind shifted slightly, carrying the scent of the antelope towards it. Another advantage. It paused. Its muscles tensed like a bowstring about to snap. Its heart rate sped up, but its breathing remained strangely steady, a mark of a seasoned predator. Then it charged. The screen seemed to be torn in two by the sudden acceleration, dust flying up, shooting long trails behind it. The antelope turned its head in time, its eyes widening in a moment of absolute terror. The leopard strangled. The prey struggled desperately. Then all fell silent. A brief moment of victory, but before it could start eating, the leopard sensed something was wrong. A brief moment of victory, but before it could start eating, the leopard sensed something was wrong. It was not the sound of the prey. It wasn't the wind. It was the ground shaking. softly but clearly. Shaking with the footsteps. Shaking with the cacophony that was growing louder on the horizon. The leopard raised its head. Its ears twitched. Its eyes narrowed. Another storm was approaching. The ground was still shaking gently under its feet. At first, it was just a fleeting sensation, like a strong wind blowing through dry soil. But as a seasoned hunter, the leopard knew at once that the shaking was not wind, nor was it a natural sign. It was heavy, steady, and growing stronger. The leopard stood up, its body tensing. It looked around, its ears swiveling, trying to determine its direction. At first, it was just a few dark shapes on the horizon. But as they came closer, their shapes became clear. A troop of baboons so numerous that the ground seemed to change color. The leader, a giant male, led the group. It moved with a confident stride, each step exuding the domineering air of a creature that feared no predator in the savannah. They approached like a herd patrolling their territory. The leopard immediately crouched down. It was no longer the appearance of a successful hunter, but of a creature calculating whether it would survive if confronted. The leopard's prey lay at its feet, still warm, but its value had changed. It was no longer a meal, but a trigger for confrontation. The sounds of the monkeys grew louder. One by one, they climbed up the low rocks, stood on two legs, and observed. In that moment, the whole group seemed to have detected the scent of fresh meat. A shrill scream rang out. Then a few more. The whole group changed direction immediately. All eyes turned towards the leopard. towards the prey it had just killed. The leopard took a step back. Its eyes still did not leave the monkeys, but its ears were flat, a clear sign of extreme alertness. The baboons did not come just to steal the prey. They came to punish any creature that dared to eat in their territory. The battle for the carcass had just begun. The chaotic sounds from the baboons spread faster than the dust they stirred up. The leopard stopped on the dry ground, its body low as if trying to blend into the grass. But its invisibility was meaningless now. Its enemy had seen it. The leopard growled softly, its sharp white teeth exposed to the sunlight. A final warning. But to the baboons, a warning was just a signal to attack more fiercely. To avoid being attacked from all three directions, the leopard had to jump up the trunk of a low acacia tree nearby. The rough bark hissed under its claws as it climbed a horizontal branch about 2 meters above the ground. The leopard stood there, breathing heavily, but its eyes never leaving the baboons. It had hunted many antelopes and had escaped lions, but baboons were a different kind of enemy. They did not hunt for food. They fought to show their respect, to prove that they owned the land. The leopard looked down at the antelope's carcass one last time. A victory had just been won, but now it had become a trap that would drag it to its death. A daring leap from the tree trunk, through the grass, running like a black and yellow stripe that escaped the siege in an instant. The monkeys screamed madly, but they did not chase the leopard. They rushed after something more important than the carcass of their recently robbed prey. The savannah was once again immersed in its cruelest truth. In the fight for food, the most ruthless are the ones who survive. The leopard had run far away from the chaos, its figure fading and disappearing behind a clump of thorns. Only its scent lingered on the wind, the scent of defeat, of a perfect hunt ruined in an instant. It slowly walked to a low thorn bush and lay down in the thin shade it provided. Its shoulders rose and fell, its breathing still labored from the intense chase and tree climbing. Instead of getting angry, the leopard did what only true survivors can do. It began to plan its next hunt. Its stomach was still empty. Its body needed energy. And fatigue was starting to creep in like a hot afternoon wind. Its steps were a bit slower, but not heavy. In each movement, there was still the grace of a killer born from darkness and silence. The leopard raised its head to look at the horizon that was gradually changing color because of the afternoon sun. It had to move away from the area with too much danger and competition. The scene after the robbery quickly turned into a chaotic battlefield. The screams from earlier had subsided, but the echoes of its violence still lingered in the dry, burnt grassland. The leader stood on a low rock, chest rising with each breath, observing the whole scene like a general who had just finished a great battle. Its eyes did not look at what was left on the ground. It looked further into the tall grass that was gently swaying in the afternoon wind. Only it understood that the blood feast just past was not the end, but only an invitation for other predators. While the baboons were gradually retreating after the bloody feast, the true masters of the art of prey stealing appeared on this harsh stage. Spotted hyena. A misunderstood species, but the most formidable warrior of the savannah when it comes to stealing food from others. Not only are they scavengers, hyenas are also the top opportunistic fighters. Many people think that hyenas only eat dead animals. But in fact, 70% of the spotted hyena's food comes from hunting itself. The rest comes from stealing prey. And they do this so well that they have become experts of the savannah. Not because they are weak, but because they are too strong and too smart to pass up an easy meal. Hyenas possess the strongest jaws among African carnivores, with a bite force exceeding 1,100 pounds per square inches. Enough to crush antelope femurs, enough to break open a turtle shell, enough to make even lions wary when bitten. When these steel hammer-like teeth touch flesh, no species wants to argue over ownership of a meal with hyenas. Compared to baboons, which are aggressive but lack the ability to finish, hyenas are a species that no one dares to underestimate, including leopards, lions, or wild dogs. Baboons compete for prey with leopards and can win. But when hyenas appear, the outcome is almost pre-written. Baboons have to retreat. The battle for each piece of meat has ended, but the fierceness of the savannah has never stopped. In a place where every moment can change the throne, there is no ruler, only temporary survivors. And don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next wildlife survival series. The hyenas thought he was dead or hiding in shame. Wrong. He wasn't dead. Look closely. Not one, but two. Two exiled kings have shaken hands. Today, they return not to negotiate territory. They return to carry out a purge. Sweet revenge. The moment the Lion King returns to reclaim his throne. During his exile, the dethroned king lived in the shadows, carrying a scar of humiliation that hurt more than any physical wound. He fled from the laughter of his enemies, but could not escape the truth. A lone male lion can be devoured by the mob. This was the cruelest lesson the throne had taught him. But exile led him to another barren territory, where he encountered another king, also burdened with the weight of failure and loneliness. One who had been defeated in a brutal territorial struggle years ago. one who had once ruled, and one who had also been betrayed by isolation. By the laws of nature, two estranged males would tear each other apart. But this time, a silent signal was sent. No growls. Only the gazes of those who had lost everything. Two lonely men now became a coalition. The most fearsome military alliance of the savannah. This alliance was not built on brotherhood or affection. It was built on shared humiliation and a single self-interest: revenge. Both had tasted defeat, both understood the power of the hyenas' numbers, and most importantly, both yearned to reclaim their lost dignity. They walked side by side. Without looking at each other, without speaking. Their silence carried the weight of the loser and the one who had waited. Their manes, their broad shoulders, carried a resonant power. They were not just two individuals, but two pronouncements sent to the gang that had committed the crime. Just months ago, one of them had tucked its tail and fled from the frenzied mob. Now, he held his head high. They had returned, bringing with them unbreakable power and a cruel truth. The solitude was over. The two kings were a balanced force, a declaration that the era of humiliation was over. The hyenas thought they had won. After driving out the king, a euphoric frenzy swept over the gang. They began establishing a new order, reveling in the abundance of the new territory that the lion had once monopolized. Dead prey lay scattered. The pack's laughter echoed, arrogant, the sound of newly established power. The hyena queen stood atop a high mound, her eyes darting around, bearing the excessive confidence of one who had just overthrown an empire. But in the world of gangs, the most deadly mistake is confusing victory with a moment of emptiness. They've seized the land, but they haven't eradicated the root of the feud. They haven't finished the job. The hyenas made a fundamental error. Complacency replaced vigilance. They believed the fear they sowed was permanent. They forgot that the existence of the humiliated king remained a growing threat. Revenge in the natural world is an unwritten, uncompromising law. It's not an emotion, but a calculation. Loss must be offset by an equal price. When the humiliated one returns, the target is no longer territory or food. The target has shifted to a personal, cold, and brutal reckoning. The target is the head of the leader, the one who ordered the hunt and laughed the loudest in the moment he fell. Today, two exiled kings return to reclaim not only their crowns, but also respect. They come to prove that even the power of the masses must yield to wounded pride and a purposeful alliance. This return wasn't a blind assault or a hasty act of revenge. The two lions had learned a costly lesson about disorganization. Now, they employed a new, cold, and precise tactic. They decapitated the snake. They didn't charge into the crowd. Instead, the two lions split their formation into a V-shaped arrow, moving silently through the tall grass. Their scent, the scent of old enemies now carrying new confidence, spread on the wind, an unmistakable declaration of war. The hyenas were laughing, but their laughter suddenly stopped. Hyenas have incredibly keen senses, and suddenly they sensed a terrifying silence. The danger lay not in speed, but in precise calculation. The hyena queen was the first to realize the fatal mistake. The enemy hadn't come to fight the entire pack. The enemy had come for itself. That realization was a moment of chaos. But it was too late. The two lions, working in perfect harmony and without hesitation, cornered them. The hyenas panicked. But the two lions paid no heed to the insignificant creatures. Their eyes were fixed on a single target, the alpha female hyena. The one who had ordered them to be attacked the day before. This was the perfect psychological blow to break down the command system. The one cornered was not the exiled king, but the powerful queen, trembling with fear. The balance had shifted. The distance was only a few meters. They hadn't given the hyena pack a chance to use their numerical superiority. They had fought with intelligence and coordination. Revenge wasn't just about brute strength. It was punishment for the complacency of those who had won too soon. There was no time for calculation. The reckoning had come. The two kings faced their target. The distance was zero. The lion's fangs opened, carrying the death sentence for the traitor. The queen growled in despair, but her roar was instantly swallowed up. And then, the battle for revenge erupted. A roar shook the earth, followed by the dry crack of breaking bones. The hyena's arrogant laughter was silenced forever. The hyena queen fell. In a brutal moment, the humiliated king had achieved his revenge. The queen's death was the final, most forceful declaration of the re-establishment of power. The remaining hyenas scattered in all directions. Their loud laughter had turned into screams of terror. Why were they outnumbered, yet defeated? The answer lies in behavioral science, the collapse of social structure. Hyenas have an extremely rigid matriarchal system. They only obey the queen. When their leader is eliminated, the gang loses its command center. They become a collection of weak, panicked individuals. The two kings didn't defeat the entire pride, they simply switched off the control. Power was re-established through violence. The king had returned, and this time, his throne was washed with the blood of the leader. Never corner a king unless you're certain he can't return. The two kings confronted their objective. They were no longer humiliated exiles, but ruthless debt collectors. They had triumphed. They had reclaimed their territory, and more importantly, they had avenged their humiliation. The two kings returned side by side, bearing the authority re-established by blood. The chaos had passed. The territory had been bathed in blood and recaptured. The two kings, side by side, were no longer desperate warriors, but architects of a new order. Their first task was to re-establish a lion clan. The lionesses, who had lived under the lax and indecisive protection of their previously humiliated king, were now gradually returning. They recognized a newfound strength, a newfound stability. This acceptance was not merely a survival instinct. It was a respect for the victorious power. The two kings performed the rituals of rulership, marking their territory with a resounding roar, louder and more synchronized than any solitary roar before. It was a declaration to all other lone kings lurking outside. This alliance was unassailable. But in their new life, harmony was a fragile illusion. Though they shared power and the duty of protection, the ultimate instinct of the male lion remained absolute. When patrolling, they maintained a delicate distance. When hunting, both displayed uncompromising authority. One's roar was met by the others, not out of agreement, but as a reminder of the balance of power. The war against the hyenas was over, but now the most intense battle was taking place within their ranks. The responsibility of protecting the pride, the burden of maintaining the respect of the lionesses, and the potential competition for the next generation of cubs all became smoldering fires. The two kings had learned that solitude is deadly, but sharing the throne is also a double-edged sword. They were building an empire together, but they had to be constantly vigilant. The ultimate revenge might not come from an old enemy, but from the very brother standing beside them. From the distant grasslands, other eyes were watching. Younger, stronger male lions, who had never tasted defeat, were learning to read the tracks of the two kings. Each roar was not only an assertion of sovereignty, but also an invitation to future challengers. In nature, there is no permanent throne. Only fleeting periods when the strongest hold it. The two kings understood this well. They were more vigilant. It's not because the hyenas will return, but because history always repeats itself in a different form. Today they are allies. Tomorrow, they could become each other's greatest test. The lionesses give birth. A new generation grows up in the newly established order. And with them, new seeds of competition begin to sprout, silently and unstoppably. Revenge has closed one chapter. But survival is never ending. On this savanna, each victory is merely the prelude to the next confrontation. And the ultimate question still hangs in the scorching African air. Who will be the next to stand on the blood-soaked throne? Subscribe and hit the bell to not miss the next wildlife survival series.